hit a window and went overboard and gone. Sank immediately.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, the thing though is that drones are, I mean, it's like AUVs. They're not, it's not that you want them to lose them, but it is one of the risks. Like, and then they just order a replacement pretty quick, so. Wasn't the biggest tragedy.
Yeah.
Losing AUVs is much more of a tragedy because they're way more expensive. And a lot of time goes into engineering them in addition to just the cost of the vehicle.
Welcome to the people that just started following us from Taiwan, Finland, Uruguay, Australia, and New Zealand.
Wow.
That's so great.
It's a good spread.
Yeah. And of course, there's a lot of people in the United States and the UK, also in Canada. So for the ones that just started following us, we are on the search for the Samoan Clipper, trying to find the wreckage on the north part of American Samoa, very close to Pago Pago, where the boat plane sunk on January 11th, 1938. And for that purpose, we're using our ROV Argus with a side scan sonar. We're scanning a grid of a little more than 5 square kilometers. We're targeting possible dive sites to go later on and explore with more detail. La expedición va a durar más o menos 6 días. Y en los primeros días estamos solamente analizando un área de 5 kilómetros cuadrados para identificar puntos donde la recepción o el retorno del sonar nos está indicando la presencia de objetos que no son rocas o naturaleza. Y una vez que eso suceda, vamos a enviar los 2 vehículos remotos, uno que tiene cámaras mucho más detalladas que nos van a permitir mirar con mayor detalle qué es lo que está pasando. Yeah, we got some questions in Spanish.
Okay.
Valeria, you bring a whole new dynamic to this watch.
That's nice.
Oh no, I just imagine like a last cruise if one of us like didn't know Spanish, we'd just be like, oh, we got a question.
Just
I wonder what it says.
Yeah.
I could try to use my high school Spanish.
Yeah.
It would not end well.
No.
That's great. It'd be cool if we had like a whole. Imagine if there's a really big dive and there's people watching all over the world. That they could do at the
Everyone could speak a different
the
language.
ISC. They could have like a whole. They have that whole control room there. They could have
Translation role.
people doing like a SCF job, but from all
Yeah.
over.
Oh, true.
Cool.
I mean, they do that for like, you know, when you have the big like UN conferences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, the plan is after scanning the grid, we will send Argus and Hercules and their tandem usual teamwork and to explore with more detail those targets.
It's pretty flat here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
God.
So did anybody bring their coffee beans? I brought the chocolate.
Did we decide that we're gonna open that bag or not really?
Hey,
I
it might
think
be-
they may have been opened.
Perhaps it's been opened.
Because there's a cup with 2 of them in it.
Oh.
It has been opened.
I feel like
Excellent.
this is a trap, the one with 2 in it.
Well, this is a much simpler moral dilemma.
Should we use them now or save them for the
Dinner is in like
I don't need
Yeah.
15
we
to
should-
30 minutes.
Yeah, we should wait.
Should wait for
Yeah,
the morning.
Save
Yeah.
those
we
for the
shouldn't
morning shift.
eat
They
any.
could be listening
We
in
should
the
save
lounge.
those.
Also that.
I
the
mean,
next.
we're gonna respect Miles' stash.
I mean, I would never,
No.
I wouldn't. Yeah, we would never eat those.
in all
Yeah,
seriousness, no.
we need to find out something to trade that he would be interested in.
I don't have anything tasty.
Yeah.
I have Jolly Ranchers.
I can give him a granola bar.
Yeah, I have some granola bars. Give him a little chocolate.
Yeah, we don't need the chocolate anymore.
Can of soup.
We'll give him the chocolate and the coffee beans separate in exchange for the
Yeah.
chocolate covered
Hey,
That's
I'm back.
literally a fair exchange.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. It's your problem, man. We gave it back.
Just put it in
We
the bag.
we disassociated them for you.
Yeah, it's deconstructed.
Yeah, it's deconstructed chocolate covered espresso beans.
More fancy that way.
So how large is the search area in miles again?
I think it's about
2 by 2.
it's not quite. I think it's a bit more on the north-south, but
Mhm.
it's about two
Okay.
2
square
miles each
mile.
direction. Yeah, 2 square miles
Sea cucumber.
approximately.
Is that 2
Yeah.
square nautical miles?
That's a good question. Really, Miles drew a box and high-pack plan around the area that we wanted to go.
Yeah.
And that's what it's based off of. It wasn't like, oh, we want to look in a 2 by 2 area. It was, we want to look in this area. And it happened to be
It's
about.
approximately that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're similar distances, nautical miles and miles. They're just a little further off.
But what does high pack read in?
Typically, I mean, we can tell it whatever.
Oh, okay.
Either feet, miles, kilometer, nautical miles, kilometers or meters.
Actually, would you be able to just do a quick measurement on that?
Yes,
Of
I
the
can.
full
I
area,
will do it
just
with
in nautical miles.
nautical
Yeah,
miles.
yeah. That'd be a good number to have.
So what is the difference between miles and nautical miles?
So a mile is 5,280 feet. A nautical mile is,
Barely over 2,000 yards.
yeah, so it's a little bit longer. Technically, a nautical mile is how long it takes to go 1 knot in an hour, which was designed based on a knot, literally like in a line that they would measure speed with back before they had like speedometers.
Uh, 1.8 nautical miles by 2 nautical miles.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's the grid.
Yep.
Okay. Is that squared miles? Squared nautical miles?
Well, that's a length
No.
width, right?
So yeah.
Oh.
So you got to
yeah,
multiply them for area.
Okay.
2 by 1.8.
Okay.
So a little less than
3.6.
4. Yeah.
3.6 square nautical miles.
Yes.
So far we have like 44 targets.
We have
45.
47.
47.
Oh,
42?
47 targets.
47. Don't just say numbers.
40. Yeah, just
I thought it was like Price is Right.
start
124
counting.
sea cucumbers.
Are we expecting to explore all of those with Hercules?
No, we would only check out high priority targets with Hercules.
And then yeah, you guys were saying with your software being able to condense it, make it look a little better, you'd be able to discount more of the
Yeah,
rocks.
that's my hope. Yeah, it's I'm going to basically look through the entire data set and basically retarget stuff. So anything that looks interesting after that, I would probably, say, hey, let's go look at this again.
So what format do you look at that in? Is it one big sheet on a computer screen that you can move around, or does it come to scroll through the waterfall?
It's kind of both. So it does make a real-time mosaic, so you do see like kind of the whole grid. It's not very good, and just because of the way that the Argus data comes in, as I've said many times, it's really not the most ideal towfish, but it does the job. So just for mosaicing, it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been going through, once I've done some corrections and processing, I've been going back through the waterfalls, which fortunately I can scroll through faster than this.
Right.
Otherwise I'd be here a long time. But most of it I'm going to have to do tomorrow because right now it's all importing, and then I have to process, then I have to let it batch process based on the processing I already did on the first line. So it takes a bit of time.
And which one was the one with the 3 spire-looking shadows? That was 31, was it?
That was 30, and then 31 was the one with sort of like right-angle pipe-looking things next to it. 30 with the 3 things turned out in the process sonar to just look like rocks. The other one still has that sort of strange look, so that's why I want to go over both of them again on the way up to line 16.
And which one was 32? Was that by the watch after us, the first one they got?
32, it should be because that was at the end of our watch. Let me pull that up. 32.
I think I saw this one from the lounge.
That?
No, maybe that was it. I don't think so.
36 I thought was pretty cool because it's got a square in it,
Yeah.
which is weird.
I thought there was one that had
There was one from our watch last night that was, oh God, it was 3 repeated things, but then I heard you talking about, or after that's probably just one thing kind of smeared somehow, is it?
Was that?
I don't know,
Last
it looked
night?
like, yeah, there was something from last night.
Is
I
that
don't
the one that
remember.
looked like the tail, or?
No.
Is that a square on the left now? In the,
We're here?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a rock.
Okay.
Like a rock. That's like Chevy? Or is it Ford? I don't remember which truck.
Chevy.
it was.
Chevy.
Chevy, yeah. Like a rock.
Alright, we're going to be stopping here in a second.
What does this
alright.
Chevy look like on sonar?
I haven't seen a truck in side scan. I have seen... The first thing I ever found underwater with Hercules was in a refrigerator off of Ukraine.
Nice.
Missing its door, of course. Found lots of
That's
lengths
good.
of chain,
Bridge now.
anchors. Found a mine, which was not fun. But that was only on sonar. We didn't dive it, obviously.
Of course we hold position. Thank you.
So if you do find like potentially dangerous objects, are you obligated to report those to certain authorities, or do you just kind of note it and move on?
Yeah, I mean, and for that expedition, we had a Ukrainian archaeologist on board, so we told him about it. And yeah, if we were to find unexploded ordnance or something, we would report that to the Coast Guard and the Navy. It doesn't really happen that often. You can find it around like military shipwrecks. There also are some areas, especially off of Hawaii and some off of the East Coast, where there are munitions dumps, but most of those are marked on charts, or a lot of them are, not all of them. But a lot of those locations are known and avoided.
Cool.
There are instances of like fishing trawlers pulling up, things like
Oh,
that,
man.
which isn't great. But then that's how we learn to avoid them.
I'm just imagining we're scanning and we're like, oh look, a rock and sonar, and we pull up to it. It's just Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I mean, he's from Samoa,
Yep,
so it could happen.
he is. What was
I
he?
thought it was
like
from Canada.
He's. Oh, I think he grew
Okay,
up in
so he's
Canada, but
Samoan.
one of his parents is Samoan.
I didn't know he was
So-
Canadian, actually. That's funny.
Someone was saying, I don't know.
That could have just been a lie.
Don't quote me.
Yeah.
I just know that
But yeah.
I know that the next the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff from Fast and the Furious, the part of it takes place in Samoa.
Cool.
I bet you they filmed it in Hawaii though.
Yeah, I don't imagine the roads being excellent for that
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, I don't know if it's more like, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. It's not out yet.
Yeah, just infrastructure and logistics and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was hard enough getting all of us out to Samoa. Imagine an entire movie crew
Yeah.
and
Like,
all their gear.
you all have to hop on this plane between islands and lose half your camera gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave that behind. You can't take that.
Can't take anything heavy. Oh, don't worry, we don't
Then
have
again,
any of that.
if the Rock was going to get on one of those planes, there's no weight limitation for anybody else.
He'd probably get his own plane.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
What was that?
That was a
Sea
sea
cucumber.
Sea cucumber. I'm checking out some images of the Pango Pango harbor, and apparently the place where Captain Ed Music had to clear before landing was very difficult. I just can't imagine at that moment in history how, like right now we take for granted all those awesome airports we have and like huge runways and, and now that I see these images, it's like.
That's where we got on the ship, right?
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we were pulling out, we were basically pulling out right in the middle of their runway. Yeah, I would not want to be...
Do we know if they went, I mean, I'm guessing they went south, kind of out of the, well, or did they go straight up over those mountains, kind of heading north?
Thought I saw a picture of them coming in over the mountains.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think at least to land, they came in over the ridge, and that's why they needed to dump fuel, was they were too heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were on their way. They were about an hour into their journey toward New Zealand when they turned back from some sort of issue.
Right.
Hello.
Was it like an engine failure or something, right?
Something about oil pressure, I think someone said.
Oh, okay.
We do have all those binders with the great references down the lounge that we can, has all the information.
So, Mike, what would be the signs that
Hold on, we're on a shift change, Valerie.
Oh.
They'll be able to answer the questions in a couple minutes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we need to eat.
It is very important.
Yeah, please feel free to keep posting your questions. We will be answering them right after our dinner.
I wonder if the sea cucumbers show up in the side scan sonar, or if they're too gelatinous.
I feel like if they're real close, they'll provide some good interference.
If you had a school of sea cucumbers right under, you'd see it in the nadir. Like a school of fish, but a school of sea cucumbers.
Is there
I
a
live
collective
to
term
see-
for sea cucumber?
Say again?
Is there a collective term for a group of sea cucumbers, or is it school?
It's
Cucumber
a
eye?
salad.
A salad of sea cucumbers.
I think that's a Google search.
Didi,
Group of
what color
jellyfish?
would we
No,
be
sea
seeing?
cucumbers.
No, but a group, you know what it's called?
A
For
jar.
jellyfish, isn't it like
Yeah.
a smuck or something?
It's a smack.
Smack.
Smack of jellyfish.
That's great.
It's different.
I don't know about pelagic, but like the normal benthic, I say normal, the benthic sea cucumbers, I'd want to call them a garden. You
Oh,
know,
that's a
if they're
good
all
one.
together.
Huh.
Yep, that's good. Those are some pointy shadows. Pointy rocks.
So, where are they going to go now? South? Back? Roger.
You're like,
Some air gap attenuation going on back there.
Yeah, I was drinking water, I forgot. We're going
Air
to
gap
continue the
attenuation.
southern lines, so 3, 2, and 1, and then head north, and on the way plot a line through some of the targets from the previous lines on our way to finish the northern survey lines.
Awesome.
Michael confer with you on which targets to plot a
Yeah,
diagonal.
he was talking about
Okay.
it. So yeah, we'll figure out our track. I'm sure.
Yeah, the grid that we developed, and the idea is to scan 2 squared miles that were equivalent to something nautical miles.
1.8 by 2 nautical miles.
Exactly, or a little bit more than 5 squared kilometers. And we are like over maybe 60% or not yet.
Oh, please tell me it's more than that.
I think we've done a lot.
Yeah, more than 60%.
Will we finish by midnight? That's what I want to know.
oh, there's 20 lines?
Yeah, I'd say
Oh,
a
yeah?
little over 60%, 70% maybe.
Okay.
Oh, I
cool.
thought you
I
were
thought we
saying,
had
yeah,
24
we'll
hours more.
finish by midnight.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
No,
think
we have
we
24
need
hours.
like, yeah, exactly.
I don't know
That's what
about finish by
understood.
midnight because maybe with the lines, but going over some of these other ones we want to take a look at again will take a little bit longer.
It's a little bit of a ways to get north. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, slight transit.
Is the transit up to the next line longer than one line?
Probably about equivalent. Well, I mean, a little less. So a mile and a half, maybe.
Hercules is getting antsy. The pilot and the machine.
Wonder how far I could drag Argus at 3,000 meters. I'll bet I gotta get at least 200 meters away from the launch point. So
I don't know about that.
it would be reverse tow mode.
Didi, maybe you know this. What are the signs that we would be looking
lot of
at
cable.
on the wreck to determine what happened to the plane?
So once we find remains from the Simone Clipper on the seafloor, we're going to be really interested in seeing how intact or how not intact the plane is, sort of how many pieces it's located in, and if any of those pieces have evidence of fire. Since there are reports that there was an explosion on board, so I think how much of that has been charred will be able to indicate how large of an explosion and potentially, where that explosion took place.
Okay. Thanks for following us and being interested in this exploration. This expedition is unique. Is this the first time that Argus goes by itself? Not really, but it's not very common, right?
Yeah, I don't think we don't do too much in a tow mode. I think last time Mike Brennan said that he maybe was on board the last time they did it as like using Argus is a side scan. I could be wrong,
I
but
think based on the numbering, this is the 56th time Argus has gone alone, or the 1056th.
Oh,
in its
56.
entire
okay,
life.
then never mind. Argus is used to go alone.
56.
56, but still, if you compare that to Hercules, when we do Hercules and Argus, Hercules dives are 764.
Okay.
So that's
And
a
now I'm
small
gonna go to
percent.
have some dinner, so I'll see you guys in a minute. And Maddie's gonna be with you on the communications.
See you, Valeria.
See ya.
Rennie, I don't know if you have any insight, but we were curious as why Little Herc got 2 letters and didn't start with a 1 in the numbering, you know?
Yeah. I thought it should have 1 letter. But there it is.
So, you know.
So we can't do more than 999.
Right.
Gotta keep it under that. But there was no reason. It doesn't really matter what it is, actually. And I don't think it would even matter too much if we went 4 digits at the end either.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
Howdy.
Hey, howdy, hi. How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Swell.
Swell.
Pun intended.
Summer, was there
Zinger.
pizza downstairs as you were hoping?
No, spoiler alert, there's not pizza today.
Whoa.
Oh, what's that thing?
Halothurian.
It's about to be
I think
more
another
things.
128th.
pink
Halothurian.
pelagic sea cucumber.
Woo. Wait, is the actual number at 128?
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
Strictly non-scientific.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
So I saw you all marking a couple of points when I was downstairs. What number are we up to?
I think we were just looking at some of the older points,
Oh, I see.
but we're in the 40s.
Cool.
I think it's at least some of the sea cucumbers we've been seeing is genus Yymmdd, though credit has to go to Rebecca, who had this Wikipedia page pulled up last time.
Those are the ones we were looking at last cruise.
Yeah.
We collected one.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Neat. Wait, was that the one that looked like an umbrella shape, or?
Yes, I think.
Okay, I think that might be a different species. I'm not
We're
sure.
not seeing those here?
It looks like Yymmdd is like the body is more cylindrical with the 2 like fins on the top and bottom.
I thought we.
Though I might just be misidentifying the species. That's very possible.
No, it might be that there's just a couple different ones. I thought I saw.
There's a few.
I saw one of those.
Oh yeah, I think the one that you guys got last time was Pelagothuria.
Yeah, Pelagothuria.
Yeah.
That is correct. And whether or not we've seen those, I thought I saw one, but it's hard to tell because we just have Argus and bouncing around. But I thought I saw Pelagothuria. Could be wrong.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. These are very interesting.
What's the most interesting bit about them, Peyton? Tell us all about sea cucumbers. We had a great conversation about flying foxes.
Interesting.
On the
Oh, that's
on the
cool.
last,
Did
yeah.
you guys see some?
Yeah, did you see them?
Yep.
Okay, so preliminary research, unofficial from Wikipedia page.
About
but
flying foxes?
Yeah,
Oh.
but they are the largest species of fox, obviously. And
Wait.
bat.
Uh-huh.
I haven't had any more coffee yet. And they're also fruit bats, so they eat fruit, not people, which is good. I was a little afraid.
Yep.
And they have a wingspan of up to like 4 feet.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. They also don't use echolocation. Did you know that?
What do they do?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How do they hunt?
They have a, quote, keen sense of eyesight.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So are they still considered bats? Are they in the bat family?
Oh, yeah.
They are, yeah.
Wow.
They're still in the bat family.
I saw a few flying around when we were in Pongo Pongo, and I was in a taxi and talking to Chris about it, and then our cab driver pulled over into a driveway and pointed up in a tree and said, and told us to get out and look, and it was all the flying foxes hanging out in a tree.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I only saw them sort of like flying pretty low,
Yeah.
almost like vultures. But when you saw them in the tree, were you able to see sort of their faces and a little bit close? What?
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool. And they're endemic only to the South Pacific. They're not found anywhere else in the world, I think.
So does that include Australia?
I think they're in Australia, yeah.
That was the first place I saw them.
Yeah, they're so cool. But back to sea cucumbers.
All right. So, I don't know, I'm really used to seeing like sea cucumbers that are like the California sea cucumber. It's like long, it has red body and these like orange spikes on it that are actually really fleshy. Like it looks very spiky and kind of intimidating, and then you give it a poke and it just kind of like squishes in a little bit.
So the ones in Southeast Alaska too, right, and the Pacific Northwest
Yeah,
are also
those
like
are-
they look like a cucumber,
Yeah.
except for squishy, right?
Yeah.
So these ones we're seeing are kind of, they don't resemble what I know as sea cucumbers necessarily.
Yeah, it looks like, so their body plan is modified.
Interesting. What does that mean exactly?
So for these guys, based on what I'm seeing both on the video feed and again on the Wikipedia page, so normally they have these oral tentacles. So they use, for the more benthic, so bottom feeding sea cucumbers, they're using these sticky pads to basically pick up bits of detritus and sand, and then they eat it. They digest it and remove all of the organic matter from it and leave it behind. They're like these little vacuum cleaners. And so in some of the Enypniastes, which are the purple or pinkish ones we're seeing, you can actually see in their digestive tract sediment or marine snow, that stuff that's drifting down. But for Pelagotheria, it looks like it's so it says the only true pelagic holothurian. So it's drifting, and I'm assuming that it's feeding directly off of the marine snow that you see in the water column. And for folks at home, what we call marine snow can actually be a pretty wide range of detritus, from anything from like, sometimes it's poop from either salps or other plankton. Sometimes it's just plankton that have died and are drifting down. It can be in various states of decay, but it becomes the major food source for most of the organisms living at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these highlight reels of other deep sea cucumbers.
Ooh.
Yeah, oh my gosh, so cool. But they almost, resemble jellyfish kind of in this pelagic,
Yeah.
It's wild. I've never seen it. But they are the scavengers of the sea, right? They kind of, like you
Yes.
said, they're vacuum cleaners both in the water column and along the sea floor, and they kind of clean up.
Just looking for anything that might be remotely edible, and that's what they feed on. All right, I'm going to hand the mic back to Rebecca. It's good talking to you, Maddie.
Yeah, you too.
See you later.
See ya.
That was strange. Did you play with a lighter thruster or something? Anyone? Wendy? Did you play with a light or a thruster or something?
I just turned because we're turning.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to face the way we were heading.
No,
yeah.
no, that's fine. I was just, it's a good test ride. I was just curious. It's like, oh. It's okay. You're welcome to do that as needed for piloting purposes, especially on turns. I just was curious.
Ed was saying something about how zooming was affecting the sonar a little bit.
Yeah, so if I do a zoom on the Argus camera at full speed, we'll get a little burst of noise in the mezzo, and you'll see it in the side scan as well. Are we doing a turn now?
That's kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's full speed zoom starting now. And stopping.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Oh, that's what we saw the other day.
And here's slow speed zoom coming out, so the mesotech will stay okay, but the edge tech's going to pick it up. And I think that's acoustic noise from the servo motor inside the camera housing.
Yeah, wow, that's sensitive.
Maybe that's why animals get scared when we zoom in.
There you go.
It's also right over the transducer, so it would hear it.
Yeah.
I would assign that to a causal factor in that noise.
Yeah.
At the end of this leg, we're all going to arm wrestle the Argus pilots because your right arm is going to be atrophied from having done nothing for a week.
My left
I know, your left is
hand
going
is
to
going
be
to
so buff.
really strong.
I was mentioning on our last watch that this leg is the second leg of the year where Argus is unmanned.
Right.
Yep.
I think one.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, it took me a while. I wasn't going to be the first to admit it.
Apparently the date line's running right down the middle of the boat.
Oh, are they still in yesterday over there?
It's like dial-up internet. It takes me a second.
Yeah, that's all right. At least I didn't hear a thud.
What's dial-up internet?
Oh my god. In high school, that's how my brother and I would fall asleep, because Dad would sign on to his modem when we went to bed in the office, and it was like, hear that noise, like, oh, it's time for bed.
Bridge nav. Request we start tracking the selected line bearing 260 at 1 knot. You can change heading as needed.
Oh yeah, they're facing the wrong way.
Thank you.
And they can still do it, but...
We're going to have a creative writing seminar, so when you go back to the Coast Guard Academy and people ask you what you did, we'll have thought up something you can say that will prevent you from being hazed for having a cush gig.
Yeah,
I
mean,
greasing a turbine down in this 400
you can clean out the oil from the winch.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
I have a story to tell.
I've done enough chip and paint
those,
and scrubbing bathrooms. I'll just.
You navigated a whole ship.
Yeah,
He can make it sound good.
Just have to find the airplane, and then you can,
Right.
Yeah.
Find the airplane or find Mark's stateroom.
Yeah.
They're both equally hard.
Yeah, no, you get good at phrasing things well.
Phrasing? That's not still a thing.
Can I have the gauge stuff?
Plus, I have some friends that this summer, yeah, they're, like, I spent half my time on a Coast Guard ship and half my time on Nautilus, but they're spending all 11 weeks on a Coast Guard ship, but it will be like, you know, an hour away from their house.
Oh, right. That's kind of nice.
So, yeah.
At sea? Or just on duty on one?
A lot of times in port, depending on the ship schedule.
So they just go home at night?
Sometimes, yeah.
I never worked on an American Coast Guard ship. Well, done a lot of work on Canadian Coast Guard, but that's very, very different.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
They're not a conscription service. They're a civil service, like the post office.
Oh, I didn't know
Boy,
that.
are they.
I worked with some Canadian Navy last summer.
Yeah.
Just like 3 of them.
Ed, have you been on the Amundsen?
No, I think
that's one of the Canadian Coast Guard ships, isn't it?
Mike, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a Coast Guard ship. I have not been on it.
Oh, really?
I know they've done some multi-beam work up in the Arctic that I was looking at some of that data.
Yeah, no, I work with some people who are on it, but
Yeah.
that's Vince and Peter usually do that these days.
Oh, really? Why Peter?
Why not? I
Yeah,
guess
why
I
not?
mean,
He's
I
there.
think it's and Trevor Shepard's been up there sometimes too.
Huh.
But I think it's like
what do they mow bad of?
I'm not sure where that goes out of. If it's like maybe it's Quebec or Halifax or something. I don't know. But yeah, they have a small Mohawk system on there, so I think it's just a matter of a couple of people get familiar with it, and
That's
then you
a
just
nice
use the same
pastel.
people.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'll open it back up.
Fail.
You broke it.
Bridge now. I just closed HiPack for a second. I'll be opening it right back up. Thank you.
That must be George on your watch. It's not George.
Yeah, he's just
doing meal relief.
Covering, yeah.
Oh.
It's Martina typically.
Ah, right. This, like working 2 watches, is just incredibly disorienting. Or part of 2.
Here's.
Well, no, same thing with Steven, because when you guys leave, he stays, right? Yeah.
Go to the whale.
Yeah. And then the poor SCF on the next
is on
watch.
the whale.
No,
She has 3, everybody, they have 3
the one
video
up on the
engineers sitting over
command
here.
bar.
Yeah, but it's kind of exciting.
Makes it easier
Breaks
to fill
it up a little bit.
right?
Yeah, you can be like, all right, we're a third of the
Fill
way
air.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was anybody in the control van on the Nautilus when it was in the Gulf of Mexico?
I was not.
I don't know.
Speaking of blending together.
I have a spreadsheet that can tell me that.
Yeah. Well,
Is somebody asking about the sperm whale?
No, we've got some folks asking, you know, how does the Nautilus get from
Panama Canal.
Spot to spot through the Panama Canal?
Yeah.
And Nautilus was just up in the Great Lakes region too earlier this season.
No,
Thunder.
OET was.
OET, not
but
the
not
Nautilus.
the vessel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we shipped a team and some technology up there, but not the vessel. Done a fair amount of work in the Gulf of Mexico. I've done a lot of work out of Pearl Harbor or Honolulu.
Yeah.
And the line, is that going to be 260?
Mike, is that you back there?
Me?
Punch up cam sci.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, I guess I can.
Why?
Well, Eric says hi.
Oh, hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah, I was catching. So that's Eric Lindheim Marks, who was he was one of the high school interns. I forget what they called that program. back in 2016, I think.
Can you get your mic a little closer, please?
Oh yeah. So he was
There,
a high school student intern in back in 2016, and he just got back from France, I believe. So he's actually still awake. So Eric, we're not doing any exciting ROV work. We're doing side scan sonar, but we're plugging away.
Honing in.
Honing. Oh, I like that. I need to steal that. Honing in.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
We're
that's a
honing
good
I think
one.
we should bring the model up here. I think it needs to be closer. And it needs some sacrifices.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You're going to break it into pieces to try to match the debris that we find?
Oh, no. No, not at all. We've been taking good care of that. Russ brought that on board during shakedown or before shakedown or right after, before we left LA.
Oh, wow.
So we stowed it here on board, so
I'm
I was
switching the
waiting
file
for
to
him.
2 from 3 turn.
Thank you.
That's logged a lot of miles.
It crossed the equator.
Yeah.
So as we're looking, at this kind of like dual side scan sonar on one side and then the Argus cam on the other side, there is potential that if Argus comes across or over the Simone Clipper or parts of the Simone Clipper, we would be able to see it through video, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We think we have 100% coverage.
Kind of the plan. And we could pick up on a debris trail
How to close out?
We're
Anyway,
figuring
go
that
ahead.
if there will be a debris field, and so as Dr. Ballard was telling us this morning when we were chatting from the Inner Space Center, Titanic and Bismarck and other of his discoveries in the 80s and early 90s were done only visually by finding the debris trail first, and then, as he would say, sniffing his way to the main wreck.
Oh, wow.
So we have both capabilities. We're able to see the seabed from where we're surveying, but we're also able to look out 150 meters to either side, so it's kind of best of both worlds.
Right. So that would have been a much more sort of detailed surveying, right? If you just have a video and you're kind of doing these tight lines.
Yeah, I mean,
It is, but
Yeah.
your final product is only what you've seen. You don't get a big map to look at
Right.
and choose areas of interest.
Right.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
and
short-term temporal.
they're also looking for large scatters of debris. I don't actually know what their track line spacing was, but it wasn't really close together. It might have even been what we're doing, 200 meters or more. Because again, it was deep tow, and the Titanic's it's close to this depth actually, I think.
Right, yeah. But much bigger than what we're looking,
Yes, and the
Simone
debris
Clipper.
field is much bigger as well. Yeah, we're not going to. What they stumbled upon first that identified it was a boiler, and we're not going to be finding that.
Right.
It's a little bit easier to find something that was carrying 20,000 teacups.
Yeah. That's a lot of teacups.
I just made that number up, so.
The unofficial
too
count
big
of
of a
teacups.
number?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to image a rock earlier that came to a very aerodynamic point at the end.
Oh.
Yeah.
What was the point of that?
It was a rock that just kind of came, it looked like the nose of a something.
Oh, interesting.
But it was a rock.
It was a rock.
It was a rock.
The usual story.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to go and figure out what's being served for dinner. Don't spoil it for me.
Try the thing that starts with a Q.
Hey, earlier at lunch when you said wait for the thing at the end of the line.
Yeah.
Were you talking about the egg rolls?
Yeah.
Yes, they were so good.
I know. I know.
All right, I'm
That's why I
out.
was like, leave room. I'm not going to spoil it, but leave room.
Oh, I left room.
Yeah, good.
Cool. Is there a... are we not able to recreate the lines that we've done as finished lines? Like the ones that turned black once we did them?
They were all turning green again because our ship track was running out.
No, the completed lines stayed black, I thought. No?
Can we see where we've already been? I think
We
is what
can
he's
see
asking.
based on targets, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've written down which ones we've done too. I know the 16's next, but it does help a little bit.
I mean, in Layer Manager, I can just pull things to the front and see if I can get it, but I'm guessing because we're restarted.
Okay.
It's going to be.
All right.
Yeah.
Now it looks like we have to do the whole thing.
Are we still doing the southern lines? I guess we are, huh?
Yeah, we've got,
we got 2 more?
One more after this.
One more.
Yeah, we're on 2.
We're doing shorter,
great.
shorter ones.
And then we're going to do the southernmost unfinished line up top?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to run over a couple targets and then do a west line on our way north just to get a bit more coverage, and then start line 16.
If this was Battleship, I'd run a diagonal line, corner to corner.
Well, but it's area we've already covered.
He was up there for
yeah,
dinner
that's
or
true.
something.
There's a bit of Battleship to this, as you're trying to find it as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
But perseverance.
All we're doing pretty much is just firing at every single square. If that's how we're playing Battleship.
Yeah.
You're just calling them
Right,
in along
right.
the, yeah.
Yeah, because nobody's firing at us.
Well, also that, yeah. Yeah, not yet at least.
And if there's any sense of justice in the world, when we do find this thing and generate a bit of buzz about that, anybody who wants to tune in has to view everything we've viewed up till now before they can actually see.
Yes, you have to watch 48 hours of scrolling sidescan before you're allowed to see the wreck.
We want to deliver the earnest, true experience to people at home.
The full thrill of discovery.
Well, they could do what we do and sleep through bits of it.
Yeah, that's true.
You're the pilot.
Not much.
No, when I'm not on watch.
Oh. Just checking that sounded bad.
Yeah.
Hey, that looks good.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. HiPAC does crash. Actually surprised you hadn't ever dealt with it before because it's kind of